we run our panels a little bit differently, at least I do. You are the 5th panelist or 6th panelist. So anytime you have a question, stand up, raise your hand, we'll bring a microphone over to you and we'll stop mid-subject and answer your question. And then at the end, we'll also have a Q&A. These are some of the leading marketing executives in this industry, and they have some amazing things to talk about today. It's going to be very, very interesting. Direct response versus brand awareness. And as a marketer myself, as a marketing dork for myself, I find that hard to quantify, always. So I'm interested in what you guys are going to have to talk about. But first, let's start off with introducing yourself, what you do, who you represent, your company, and give a 15-second commercial about your company and give us your booth number if you have one, or tell them where they can talk to you later.
Hello everybody, my name's Stephen Pearson. My background is 25 years in international sports marketing. I've held commercial roles with UEFA, running the Champions League, and I was the commercial director of the English Premier League. And for the last 15 years I've run my own company called Sports Media Gaming. Over the last 2 years I've been actively involved in brokering quite a number of the current sports sponsorships with online trading companies, both Forex and binary.
And they can find you?
And they can find me not in a booth, but walking around.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Amir Yarkoni. I'm the CEO and founder of SEPERIA. We're an online marketing firm. Since 2003, we work with many brokers on acquisition, on retention, on measurement. We present here at booth number 41 if anyone is interested. And that's it.
Hi, my name's Nicc Lewis. I'm CMO of LEVERATE. I have nothing to sell you in terms of marketing because that's not what we do. So I was very happy to join the panel. I do have something to sell you if you're looking for any kind of technology for a brokerage. All you have to do is walk out the door, turn right, and we're the double-story booth on the corner.
Hello, I'm Schepper. I'm head of marketing at SWISSQUOTE Bank, the Swiss leader in online banking. We are specialized in trading, and we have also solutions for institutionals like white labeling and liquidity.
Hello, my name is Alex. I'm the VP of a new brand that was launched recently, and actually this week opened its gate to the UK market. The name is invest.com. We specialize in portfolio management. We do have trading platforms, but our flagship product is a portfolio management service, robo-advisor, smart strategies. On top of that, we are specializing in alternative investments, so a very, very specific niche in investments.
And your company name is what?
Invest.com.
Wow, how expensive was that URL?
I come with over 20 years experience, a lot of above the line. I joined Invest.com after a few years with Wonga. The guys from the UK probably know Wonga. I was heading the international expansion of that brand.
Great. All right, let's jump right in, unless you have any questions. If you have any questions, please stop me at any given time. First question, very vague, very general. How do you believe brand awareness can impact direct response? No particular order.
I think from a sports marketing perspective, if I talk about that, when I talk about brand awareness, we can talk about brand awareness being sports sponsorship, and I think brand awareness can have a very important impact on direct response. Brands that are relatively new, Forex brokers are quite new in the main, who then partner with an organisation that might be 100 years old, such as an established football club, automatically then has that synergy of credibility, it's building up trust, and all of those I think can impact directly on the way that the brand can then use it in direct response marketing. The other key aspect of brand awareness when you're talking about sports sponsorship is that you have access to a large number of assets, use of player images, marks, things that you can then translate back into your direct response advertising that then creates a direct link. So it's a good combination, brand awareness being used in direct response. But I think the trust element's an important aspect. And I think also there's a subconscious in brand awareness. It's a longer term impact, obviously, than direct response. But I think one of the key things that we often overlook is that you're targeting people for forex trading where maybe the age is 18, 20 years old. Brand awareness can also target those people who are watching TV who are 16, 17 years old, who might be your next clients. And so you're subconsciously targeting your future customers through brand awareness as well.
So you're saying brand awareness-wise, so let's say sponsor a football team, yes? Sponsor a football team, I get my name on their shirt, and if people see that my name is on their shirt, now I'm real and they'll feel safer on depositing with me, and all my other direct response activities will work better because my name is on their shirt.
It's giving you credibility. You're not only being on that shirt, but you're being seen advertising next to other well-established brands as well.
Okay.
You're also partners of that sports organisation, and you're part of a family of established, credible brands.
I think I'd like to take the next approach. I'd like you to think about marketing as an holistic approach. It's not direct marketing, direct response versus brand awareness. It's a package. And I'm going to give an example that's nothing to do with our industry. How many people have booked a holiday over the last 12, 24 months? How did you do it? It's really simple. You start with a level of discovery. You find out what's going on, who's recommending what, how it works. Before you've even got to the point of any direct response, you've done your homework. You will choose, not necessarily the cheapest, you will choose the best value for money. You will choose something that feels right for you. So unless you've built the package around it, you're not going to see the kind of response that you want. So it's not direct response versus brand awareness. It's all of it as an holistic package. It's a story that engages with your potential users, your potential clients.
Okay.
At the end, I think it's the question is maybe also misleading, because actually whenever you do something, you want to have a response. So even if you make an awareness campaign, you want that there is a response. So you're fishing for signals that shows you there is a kind of attention. That can be people who watch the video, who opt in or opt out of the video, and you can measure the Google popularity index. So to see, so at the end, at our age, I think it's difficult to say, okay, there is on one end there is awareness, and on the other end there is direct response. You should see it, as you said, as a whole, and there's of course proof of evidence that if you have a high awareness, there is trust, and then you will have better response, and this is proven again and again.
Okay.
I think that definitions are very, very important. So what is brand awareness? It means that there is a brand. And brand is not just sponsoring, it's actually to be clear on your messaging, clear on your target audience, clear on the prioritization of messages, your USP. If you have all those, if you've done your research and planning accordingly, your direct response materials will be spot on, because there will be consistency, there will be a message, you'll be standing out with your message, and that will be effective. Okay. You can't exist without understanding your brand or creating a brand.
I'll give maybe a numerical answer. If you take two brands, one with an established brand awareness with a certain level of trust, and some brand new company in the market that doesn't have any brand awareness, then given the same ads, same landing pages, same everything, you'll see, and this is something that we have seen in our company when we marketed different kind of brands, that you get much better results in terms of click-through rate, conversion rate, and ultimately your cost per acquisition. It can be double or triple for a new brand without awareness and without trust. Okay?
So from brand awareness aspect, it's not always about sponsoring a Formula One team or, I don't know, sponsoring some big name. What other activities can be considered brand awareness?
Even running Google ads on generic terms in a certain respect may lead to larger brand recognition and higher awareness for the brand.
Even if I'm giving an offer but I'm blasting it out there and I don't care about my click-through rate, I just want eyeballs on it, that's brand awareness, correct? It's a direct response ad, but used in a brand awareness aspect. Would that be safe to say?
Direct response activities are very, very effective for brand awareness. So there is no, it's really a blurry differentiation between the two. It was proven over and over again that whether it's PPC or Facebook mentions or whatever, the exposure in the right manner will build your brand.
So what is that right manner? I mean, both mediums should be used in an effective way. We've already agreed to that. Yes, we all agree. What does that mean? To these guys, what does that mean?
I want to take, again, a slightly different slant from everybody else on the panel. I think, firstly, let's talk about the direct response and the effectiveness. If you're running direct response campaigns, you know that your remarketing campaigns are working much better than your keyword campaigns. I think most people have had the same thing, and that comes some way towards brand awareness. But brand awareness isn't about spending money. You can use content marketing. Smart content marketing gets your story out to the public, and it gets your message that you want to give in a way that's very effective. If you can find a way of writing good quality content that's not selling your product, but assisting a buying decision, then you are creating your own brand awareness.
So through SEO, obviously, yeah?
It's not just SEO. It's about providing value. It helps your SEO. Why does it help your SEO? Because Google's trying to achieve exactly the same results that you're trying to achieve. They're trying to achieve a good quality search result, which means I've searched for something, and the top results that I get back answer the questions that I've put into the search engine, okay? So if I've written good quality content that actually matches it, then the Google's done its work. I don't have to sell my products through my content. I need to just provide good quality, trusting, even if it doesn't mention my company at all, as far as the context is concerned, just as the author, I become a brand authority in that area. And I think that's a way that a lot of companies can approach brand awareness.
I just want to stop you guys 1 second, and I want to know who we're talking to. So how many brands out there, how many brokers out there are relatively new, less than 2 years old? Raise your hands. Hi. So, okay, not so many. All right, so now we know who we're talking to. We're talking to established brands.
I think that in theory it's true that content marketing has a contribution to brand awareness or reinforcing a brand as an authority in the field. However, when we're talking about a saturated field such as Forex or binary options, whereas a huge amount of content is written every day, and most search results will go to big portals such as investing.com and others, you should build a strategy that is not only leaned on content marketing. You mentioned remarketing, which is a great way for doing some kind of micro branding for a certain type of audience that already visited you. You can be perceived, if done right, you can be perceived as bigger and than you are. Of course, if you have the budgets, then I would say that definitely sponsoring Liverpool or Arsenal does affect the perception of your brand and does reassure a potential trader to deposit with you. Even if it doesn't make sense logically, I mean, if your name is on the shirt, psychologically the trader will feel more confidence to deposit with you than with an unknown name.
Okay, so for the new brokers out here, you got a choice to cut through the clutter, because there's a lot of brokers. Let's face it, this market's getting very saturated, very cluttered. Everyone's offering the same product virtually, maybe some little tweaks and changes here, but you're all the same. For the most part, you can just change the color of your banner and you're all saying the same thing. Now, your choices. Sponsor Liverpool, finished. You're now on the map. People know who you are. If you don't have the deep pockets and the long arms to do that, what do they do?
I think there are different opportunities if you're again talking about sports sponsorship, because there's opportunities to look at smaller sponsorships on a regional level and focus on one key market instead of going global. So many sports rights holders now offer the opportunity to become the official sponsor in Brazil, Mexico, Scandinavia, and bring the cost down by focusing on one market.
Can I ask you the cost? I mean, what is the cost of Liverpool versus, I don't know, a local team? Give me a local team. I'm so not familiar with soccer, I apologize.
If you're talking about sponsoring the shirt of a top team like that, you're talking about 25, 30 million pounds a year. If you're talking about a smaller level official partnership deal, you're talking anywhere from £1 million upwards. That's getting more expensive now because Barclays are coming out of the Premier League, so there's more branding opportunities.
So even a smaller team's over $1 million?
Smaller teams, you can go right down and do deals through the levels. I've done deals with brands in other leagues for as little as 100,000 euros.
So for a newer brand, that's feasible, right? 100,000. At 1 million, you know, when the CEO is saying well, how many actives, it's tough to, as a marketer to explain.
We're also seeing a trend now that's, you know, so many brokers are doing football sponsorship deals that for new brokers, I think it's also interesting to try and find a point of difference if you're talking about sponsorship, and we're seeing a big trend at the moment for brand ambassadors, where Forex companies and binary brands are becoming more personal with the marketing and aligning with an individual, and those types of deals can be much more cost effective as well.
And dangerous. Tiger Woods, you know, that
potentially, but they also offer great success if you get it right. And this is also content that brands can use in their direct response marketing as well.
Okay, that's one side of it. If the CEO says, no, you don't have the budget for that, I don't see the purpose of me putting up a t-shirt with the signature of the team in my office, I don't care about that, what else can you do for these guys? I
think there are many opportunities, and especially with the new medias, the social medias, where you can really find the targeting. So first you have to define what is your brand, what are the people you want to talk to, building clusters, and then using the new platforms which are there. And here the good thing is actually first the good targeting possibilities that you have, and second you can then track, and you can, based on the tracking, you can real-time optimization and really getting better and better with everything you do.
We heard retargeting is very, very effective. Yes, if you find the right partner with retargeting, you can really, really superimpose your brand, make you look much bigger for a very
Don't forget that you can do retargeting on
for a very small audience, right?
Right.
You can do remarketing on similar groups. So I can take like an area that I can match like a search history, and I can actually make my brand bigger on remarketing.
Okay, you guys got that, yeah? Remarketing is very, very key. If you don't know what that means yet, learn.
Okay, another method that you can use is first, I think, geo-targeting is very important. You better off come out as strong in a certain geo and focus your efforts on a certain geo, understand the audience, cater, gear your message towards this geography. Either it's the Spanish market or whatever.
So geo-targeting, we're still talking digital, yeah?
Yeah. So,
what about traditional?
I want to take you again on a different route.
Okay.
I love doing this.
That's okay.
I was given a task about 10 years ago, 8 years ago, to launch a mobile casino from scratch.
Mobile casino.
Mobile casino.
Okay.
I was given a huge budget, £40,000 a month for 4 months. Okay. On a market that didn't exist because it was on Java Nokia handsets, and there were no other real big competitors in the market, and told, bring me 100 grand back in gross win by the end of the 4 months. Okay? So what do you do? So we put a little bit into digital, a little bit into print. We knew that the print was somewhere in between the direct response and the brand awareness. We sponsored 2 snooker players. We didn't sponsor number 1 and number 2. We sponsored in the top 16. It was Ryan Davis and Michael the Hitman Holt. Yeah, you have to have a hitman when you're running a casino. And we sponsored a gumball-style race through London, but most of all, we worked the journalists on gadget magazines. Why? Because we focused down. We talk about geo-focus, we talked about focus not on just the UK market, we specifically profiled who is going to be our #1 target audience, by age, by demographic, by what they work at, what their lifestyle was like. We built a tree, we built our client, we profiled our client. He had a name, his name was Jack. We knew exactly where we would find him. We knew exactly where we would find him outside our ecosystem as well. So that way we could reach out and we could make every single dollar count as far as like building the brand. Incidentally, it worked, got 150 grand at the end of the 4 months. You can do it. You can do it on a small budget. You don't have to go that far out. You don't have to sponsor Real Madrid from day one. You can find your way through and make £40,000 a month work for you.
Again, I'm hearing geo-targeting.
Geo-demographic targeting. You know your focused market group and you speak to them directly.
So you spend all your budget in one area where Jack was and you ignored everything else, yes?
Exactly. And from that point on, you then build your deeper pockets to go out and find John. And then you build your pockets again and you say, now I want to find Hans. Or I want to find Pierre. But you start in one spot and you make sure that every single dollar you spend, you can really make yourself bigger than who you are.
Okay, is Facebook here? Facebook, are you out here? I took one of those little Facebook webinars the other day, and they're saying 80% of people on Facebook now do not click on a post. They don't click. So they're recommending now, they call it brand awareness. Spend all the money and don't worry about the clicks. So I wanted to challenge Facebook on that, but they're not here. So tomorrow, I guess.
Well,
I'm sorry, I digressed.
In that respect, maybe just to offer another opportunity for the audience about digital brand awareness. Is today we have a great tool that's called lookalike audience. Okay, custom audience. If you talked about Facebook, Facebook offers great audience tools these days. One of them is lookalike audience. If you have a list of people that is very tight, if you know your audience, as you mentioned, only the Johns, okay, and you have maybe 3,000 of them that you can tag and build an audience out of, then you can go out and tell Facebook, give me more people like that. It's called lookalike targeting. If the seed list, okay, that you're building is tight enough in terms of demographic, then Facebook can get you more people. So from your seed list of 3,000, maybe they can get you 30,000 people more that have the same attributes.
Too,
yeah.
As well, right? You can retarget off of the lookalike.
It's not retargeting because you don't have them in your original list, but you can get them in your expanded list. It's called lookalike list. So it's another method of doing this kind of micro retargeting.
But you get them to click onto, to get to your website. Now you got them for retargeting.
Exactly.
And you can continue to push and push.
Yeah.
You can do that down. And if you're targeting, okay, I don't know about elsewhere, but like in the States, you can do it on a block-by-block basis. I don't think anybody here markets to the States, but there's other locations in the world that you can do that. So what my point is to all of this, there are many, many activities that you can do of brand awareness and direct response for not the multi-million-dollar budgets. And if you have the multi-million-dollar budgets, our friend here can help you spend that very, very quickly in a nice way.
Correct.
But it's important to say that you don't build a brand with sponsoring a football club. A brand is built in the minds and hearts of our audience. So what we need to do is just to ensure that we have something special to say to them that is meaningful, that touches their emotions, and then to keep on banging with the same message over and over and over again, consistency, across all channels. I'm not worried about not clicking on a Facebook spread or something that you put as a banner, because actually it means that these guys maybe don't feel that this is advertising. Maybe they feel this is a social, a legit, organic, natural content, okay, which has more value than an advertisement that will say, click me,
I understand, but from a lot of these guys, because I worked at a broker before.
I know, my CEO is here, so he won't like it.
I worked for a guy that used to say, how many actives, Caroline, I see you, you know what I'm talking about. He did not care about the whole brand aspect. Every dollar he spent, he wanted 5.
I agree with him. 100% of my budget is direct response. 100% of my budget is branding or brand. Nothing I do is contradicting or not correlating to my brand strategy, including sponsorships. So if I will be looking for Invest.com sponsorship, it will be something that correlates with my brand values. It won't be just, I don't know.
Just to get a t-shirt with your name on it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I will be looking for something that is extremely smart, sharp, that coincides with my brand values. that will
can I get a
demonstrate
microphone?
what I am all about.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Maybe I go on because
We're going to come to your question in a second.
Because we are actually sponsor of Manchester United, one of the big clubs, so it's a huge investment.
I'm sorry, I never
Manchester
heard of them.
United.
Ah, Manchester.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry, we're gonna win. No. What I want to say is, it looks like what you say, yeah, it's easy when you have the money, you can sponsor a club and then you have the awareness. This is one side, yes, it helps you immediately with the awareness if you're doing it right, if you have the rights to have the visibility, but you really have to work it across the funnel so that at the end it also translates into accounts, into business, and that's hard work. So really you have to define what is the brand positioning, what are the values, finding the right partner, and then defining a creative team so that you really have a consistent message again and again, which then will work.
But do you
at
have
the
a
end.
formula that says, okay, we spent this much money, we should get this much return for that activity?
That's called ROI.
I know.
This is called online marketing. It's all numbers, all numbers.
But
Everything
you
is
do,
measured.
yes?
Yes, of course we do.
You say of course, but I've seen it not happen. So I want to be clear with everyone.
No, what we do, because sponsoring is mainly on television, so what we defined is actually we have a brand tracker in place, so every 6 months we are checking the awareness, the consideration level, the brand fit with the sponsoring that we have in place, and on top of that we are tracking the website and the search results, and with everything we do, of course, if you do something, if it's sponsoring, if it's traditional advertising, if it's, you have to track it.
You want an immediate return on investment or a long-term investment or return?
No, I think if you invest in branding, then you're investing in the future, because what is branding? Branding is a balance between short and long term. It is delayed sales in a way, and so you're here for the long term, and you know that when you invest now, so you will have lesser cost in the future for the response part.
Okay, that was the point I wanted to make. So that CEO understands this is a delayed sales versus, you know who I'm talking about when an activity is after.
I know pretty well.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I disagree. Again,
No, I mean, he knows who I'm referring to.
Yeah. My previous plays, television played the core, the basic acquisition channel. I had the opportunity to launch in a few new regions, like a standalone new company. Usually we started with a beta that included only online channels. They reached some point, the minute we added television, which was, for me, direct response, immediately everything just flew. Television had ROI. There are models, econometric models that will attribute the FTDs or whatever to each channel. So
I want to take her question real quick. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, Anastasia for XP. I have a question about branding, actually. You are talking branding, let's make sponsorship, whatever, and so on. But the trends on web marketing, I'm not talking right now about industry, but generally in web marketing, is that nobody cares about brands anymore. So they need personal, some suggestion to solution of their problem. The same is going on in our industry, in my opinion. What do you think about that? So, like, yes. So, for example, why those new bloggers who just a few years, they really have a chance to survive, because nobody cares about brands anymore. Don't you think so?
Do you guys agree with that?
No, I don't think people don't care about brands. I think that people are more brand agnostic and don't mind spreading themselves over more brands than one. Okay, so for example, the example I gave about booking a holiday. Okay, you would go to booking.com or hotels.com and you'd see which hotel suits you best. But in the back of your mind, you know that the Four Seasons is better than Holiday Inn.
This works only when you, I don't know, that you are using Four Seasons for many years, then yes. But if you are just newcomer, you came to, I don't know, Cuba, doesn't matter. You go to booking.com and you find the hotel which is nearest to the beach, which you know is the best. So you will not choose for season if it is far, far away or don't have internet access.
If you're a new brand, you have to know where you are differentiating yourself in the market. Before you even spend $1, you need to say to yourself, what am I doing that's different from everybody else? If you go me too in a saturated market, you're dead. Finished.
I wouldn't say dead, but you're going to have a hell of a challenge.
I think in this market, you can pretty much decide when to put the tombstone up. Okay. But, you know, I know it's like a little bit like of an exaggeration.
I'm going to go to him and say, save my brand!
But the first step you need to say is, where am I different? Where am I going to get my clients? And who are going to be my clients? Once you've got that, you can build a strategy around it. You have a budget, you say, and this is how I'm going to spend my budget, and this is how it's going to come back. Even if you do 100% direct response, it's going to take you 3 to 4 months to optimize to get down to like normal ROI numbers. Doesn't matter like how you start. The starting point is always, who am I going after, why, and what's in it for them? Because you are going to help them make an assisting buying decision. You are not going to sell to them. No one is sold to anymore.
Okay. And how you retain those customers, because brand is also about the other touch points. It's not just the acquisition.
Yes, but we're talking about brand awareness, not so much actual brand, or I'm sorry, the brand equity of the company, and how you build it, and how you talk, and how you approach, because we know the brand starts from the janitor all the way up to the CEO, correct? And everything that you
Retention is a very, very strong tool for branding, for brand awareness, because you create brand champions. Yeah. Referrals.
Okay, thank you.
So this is really, really core.
Creating brand champions.
It doesn't end with acquisition.
Yeah, thank you.
Who in the audience has read the Long Tail, the book? The Long Tail. It's a very known concept in internet marketing by Chris Anderson as of 2004. I recommend everyone to read it. Basically, before the internet era, everything was much more centralized. Okay, it was much more expensive. The barriers to entry were much higher to get into any market, because the opportunities for reaching out to audience, the cost of everything was much higher. Now the cost of distribution is lower, and you can build kind of small circles and small audiences and build off of that. Just a second. So yes, to a certain degree you are right that whereas in the past there were only maybe 5, 6, 7 players in the market, or in certain industries there were only 2 or 3. Today there are, as we can see in the Forex and binary industry, there are dozens and dozens of players, if not hundreds. Okay, each of them has a certain market segment. Some are strong in South America, some are strong in China, etc., etc. Some are good for this type of customers in the UK, and some are catering to Germans. So yes, people are more brand agnostic, yet it does not mean that there's no meaning to brand, because if you do not have any differentiation, if you don't have any USP, any message that you offer which is unique, which is interesting, which you reinforce consistently, then you will not be picked. The conversion ratio will be low, because very few people will select your brand over others that are more known, more recognized with certain value, more trustworthy, more aware.
Well, that's one reason why new brokers and brands are aligning with these big sports organizations that have been around for over 100 years, because it's giving them instant credibility, because the consumer will know who Manchester United is, you know, with respect better than SWISSQUOTE was a few years ago, but now they will all know SWISSQUOTE because of the link to Manchester United.
So they cut through the clutter.
They just cut through straight away, I think, yeah.
Maybe I can add something here. I think what is important is that when you look at the funnel, the conversion funnel, with awareness we are on the top of the funnel, and then with response we are on the below, where we want to demo accounts, where we want to account openings, but the real opportunity is in the middle. So in the middle there is really an opportunity for engagement, giving content on education, on research, on entertainment stuff. So here, and I think this is what is often missing, that people either they focus on awareness, so say on the shirt, or they do whatever, they spend a lot of money, but then they don't have the money or the strategy to fill the bridge between the awareness and making the conversion. And here, if you make a good job in content marketing with hero content, with hub content, with help content, you really can build the bridge and you can be successful.
How do you quantify brand awareness?
Very
It's a
easy.
difficult question to answer, I understand.
ROI is ROI.
ROI is ROI,
You have a
yes.
budget, you have an entire budget, okay? Even if you look at it from the top level, you say, this is my budget, this is what I spent in total, and this is what I got back.
Over X period of time.
Okay.
Over experience.
I think it's more than just measurement. I mean, how you quantify brand awareness is on two levels. I think it's measurable ROI, but I think it's also intangible return on investment that you can't necessarily measure, but perception about your brand, how the people are thinking about your brand, that's all linked to
But
brand.
how do you quantify?
Let me offer. You want?
It's a few things will indicate that you're going through to the right direction. One is the organic search. So
Okay.
whether the trend is going up, people are looking for you proactively. They heard about you, they think about you, they want to engage with your brand. Then you have the conversation in the social arena, the engagement in the social arena.
Okay.
There are tools to measure that.
I have one big one.
Sorry?
May I throw it out there? I have one big one. The number of IBs you have. If you have a strong brand, an IB with much breadth, if you have a strong brand and you pay on time, and as promised, the IBs will come to you more than a new brand.
Yeah, that's part of it.
It's a huge part of
It's
it.
a,
I mean,
it's a
IBs
big,
is
and by the way, you're right. Your brand is also reinforced by affiliate. If you're on many affiliate sites, then your brand is also getting a lift, right?
correct.
But let's say you're choosing to sponsor a football team. How do you quantify that? So it's not an easy solution, I would agree, but I would still give it a shot, at least partially, by setting up a set of KPIs, key performance indicators that are related to your brand. For example, if I sponsored Arsenal, I should look at certain data points 6 months before and 6 months after. For example, how many brand searches do I have? What's the CTR on my generic ads? Okay, how do people respond to my ads, and do I get a certain boost of clicks? This boost of clicks will both generate more clicks to me and also lower the spend on my ads, because all main ad platforms today consider you more relevant as you're getting more click-through rate. Okay?
So you established before you spent it, yes? Before you did it.
Before you sponsor Arsenal and
Sponsor
after.
say, okay, here's our KPIs. Now, we're going to measure these same exact KPIs without changing anything else, because now if you change it, it's not the same.
Exactly.
Right? And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The numbers are.
I mean, the research around sports sponsorship now is much more sophisticated than it was 10 years ago. So quantitative analysis and qualitative studies are going on all of the time. And that's available to brands getting into sports sponsorship.
I got a big question
because
for you.
if
I got
you-
a
if
big
you-
question for you. I'm sorry, one second.
There's another question in the
The
audience.
number of companies that I see, binary options and Forex, now doing large sponsorship packages is crazy. So my question to you, is it working? Because you did most of them, no?
We did a lot of them, but I also looked to a similar industry, which is the betting and gaming industry, because it's another industry that's targeting a very similar demographic, young males, online. They went through similar challenges as the Forex and binary companies are going through now. So if you look at how the amount of investment from betting and gaming has continued to increase and increase, much of it now is about buying share of voice.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. When I was with 888, we were the first gaming company to sponsor a football club, Middlesbrough, right? Yep. That was it. That was a big thing because it was innovative, it was unexpected. That really, really drove a lot of attention. I agree with you. I think that wherever everyone is there, it's not interesting anymore, at least in terms of sponsorships.
If everyone offers a bonus,
You
no
need
one
to be
offers a
different.
bonus.
Just think, plan,
Same principle.
think about how you are going to stand out. Don't go with the flow.
Okay, we're going to take one question and then we're going to wrap things up. We're going to do a little parting statement and then...
Okay, guys, I'm Renos Dimitriou from Conversion Pros and Leaderstry. I'm the Chief Creative Director. I've heard some great stuff about brands that should be applied and should be spread around the industry far more. But I hear you guys talk about brands as if it's an established thing, as if it's an easy thing to achieve. And I also hear about small brands which give the perception of brands. They're not quite brands yet because you're not a brand unless you have an opinion about what you do and an audience that actually follows you. But yet, in our industry, we have companies looking for leads without even being structured to create and convert those leads. What does sponsorship achieve, and why do companies still looking for leads beyond looking for brand structure and proper brand strategy and communication in order to influence and emotionally connect their audience to the brands? Because that's the only thing that really creates sales. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I would say you're correct. I was going after the aspect they already did all that. Now, how do I get the word out there? Do I do only direct response, or do I do brand awareness, or do I do a little bit of both, and what can I do with a limited budget or an ungodly amount of budget? This is how I was going. Yes, we could speak for days on how to create a proper brand. And everyone up here will have everyone in this audience, in this entire building, will have a different opinion. Now, I was going off of they already did that. So if I already know, I got all my ducks in a row, I know how I speak, I know what my brand differentiation is, I know who I am, now how do I get the word out? What's best to do? Do I do this, or do I do both? Now, parting words, starting with you.
I was going to answer that question first as well, because I think it's an interesting one where we've seen brands that have gone into sports sponsorship with a big sponsorship have come and said, well, it's fantastic, but we're generating too many leads to deal with. And is that a nice problem to have?
Well, I suppose when I stick my logo on a high-profile team, I expect to have everything else. Once I get my brand out there, because it's a high-profile team, it will be viewed by millions of people.
You can actually come and see
audience and not.
You can come and see Leverate, and we'll provide you with automated funnels.
Automatic funneling won't give me what I'm looking for. But what I'm coming down to is I'm directing audience through your exposure right into my business environment, which is usually the platform or the website or the information platforms that I provide to my audience. If that is not aligned, what good is the sponsorship to my company?
It's not, which we already know, and we said those were already taken care of, and we just took it granted, because otherwise we're going to spin this conversation into 15 different directions. Marketing, you know, marketing is not just one little piece. It's a big pie with a whole lot of pieces to it. So final words. I'm sorry.
I was going to say finally that I think brand awareness and direct response work very well hand in hand together. I think it provides huge amounts of assets to use in your direct response. I think working them together, it's about finding consistent message across the marketing mix. I think small brokers as well as big brokers have as good an opportunity to create standout, and I think standout's one of the key messages to do. Look at what all of the peers are doing and find something to do that's different, particularly if the budget's smaller. And geo-targeting we touched on as well, so I think there's a way to grow by looking at a geo-targeted approach, even without thinking you have to go on a big global brand awareness campaign straight off the bat.
Great.
Well, I think that digital marketing is a bit different than traditional advertising, whereas in traditional advertising you really had pure brand building, brand maintenance without the intention of driving sales right now, but influencing the mindset towards purchase later. In digital, you should always have a certain mix in your ads between DR and brand awareness. It can't be 80% brand oriented, but it still should have 20% of offering the call to action, of offering an action to those that are ready to convert, to trade, okay?
So you're saying 80-20 rule applies?
For users that are upstream, that are not yet ready to trade, for those that are more downstream, that show higher trading intent, it should reverse. It should be 80% direct response with a proposition or bonus or whatever, something that is interesting, that is more hard sell, and still keep some 20% for the brand value, or to touch on the brand. Okay, so I'd say that it's kind of look at it as any ad as a mix with certain weights in it. For
Thank you. We're running out of time, so I'm just.
I would say focus. Find where your value is to your users. Understand where you're going to engage with them and what value you're going to give to them. At that point, you can start structuring your strategy and how you're going to go to market. That's the key. It's your homework. It's your background first.
Okay.
Okay. I think you have to understand the customer funnel. So really defining the right amount of money you are willing to invest in each part of the funnel, and you have to understand your individual situation. So where is your bottleneck, and then based on that you have to define your action. There is no miracle solution like 80% has to be awareness, 20% has to be in conversion, because every brand, every stadium is different, every audience is different. So you have to really define for your individual situation. Maybe in one country it looks completely other than in another country. So based on that situation, you have to set up your mix.
I would say the best advice is know your customer, understand what are the barriers, what are the fears, what is the motivation, how can you bring value to their, whatever their needs are, and then help them, guide them to go through the funnel, expect the barriers, speak with customers, see where people are falling through the funnel, do a lot of A/B testing to improve that. Just support the customer by hand. Take them, lead them to where you'd like them to go. It takes some work, but it's worth it.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
It is.
Okay.
Can I do a selfie with the audience?
Absolutely.
Everyone game?
Does anyone have any questions before he takes a selfie? No? All right, go.
Any of you guys want to be in it?
I'm good, man. I'm all right.
I did. This is the first time I see this one.
Say spaghetti. Well, thank you very much. Hope to see you guys all tomorrow.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for our panelists.